What's happening, folks? The team news is in for today's big game at Ibrox, and there are two changes from the starting 11 that faced Livingston last weekend. The big news is obviously that James Forrest has missed out. The team in full is Scott Bain in goals, back four of Kenny, Welsh, Ayer and Laxalt, who replaces Greg Taylor. In midfield, it's Brown, McGregor, Christie, Turnbull, El Yunusi and Edward up top. Stacey, obviously James Forrest is a huge blow for us, the fact that he's missed out today. We've seen his impact on the team in the past couple of weeks. What's your thoughts on that lineup?
Well, considering what we've our kind of who we've got in the team is a bit kind of on the bench as well. I'd probably say it's the strongest we could probably put out. I'm not a big Christie fan, but considering Forrest is out, it's probably the next player you'd probably put in that position, because he's played it numerous times in numerous games, and he's obviously knows he can play different positions as well as a number 10. So I don't see it being a big issue, but with Forrest missing, it's a huge blow, just because of his impact he's made since he's come back in the team. He's providing goals, setting up kind of goals and stuff like that. It's just his overall presence when you see him when he came back in that team. He was just made an instant impact. Because you could, obviously, people have probably criticised Forrest in the past and had these different doubts about him, but see, when he's not there, you can see the difference the team makes. It's just not the same. So it's a huge blow, considering obviously the question marks over was he going to be fit. We didn't know, and Kennedy was obviously saying that he would leave it till the last minute, which is obviously going to be what you would do, because you want to have one of your best players fit.
I think he was trying to keep us guessing, wasn't he? I think he was trying to keep everybody guessing.
Absolutely, because I think what he gives a wee bit of a lift and go, look, you might be available, but end of the day, you've got to think on the player's welfare. Do you know what I mean? If he's not fit, he's not fit.
He's been out for a long time, so again, we all wanted him to start, but you make a good point there about Christie. His natural position is to play as a 10. Chris, do you think this means we're going to go back to the diamond today?
No, I don't, Paul. I still believe that Kennedy will set us up in the 4-2-3-1 and just ask Christie to play out on the right and see how that formation goes. I just don't think that with both Brown and McGregor in there, with El Yunusi potentially playing on the left, I don't like that. I don't like that diamond formation. I mean, it's just the way the personnel that Kennedy's picked makes me believe he'll stick with the 4-2-3-1, which was obviously really successful against Rangers in the last game. We created a lot of chances with that formation. So I believe that's what he'll stick with today. And I do think that gives us the best chance to win. I think if you were going to go with the diamond, Paul, I think I almost would have maybe played McGregor in the holding role, and then you could add a combination of El Yunusi, Turnbull, maybe Rogic, but then you've got 3 10s on the park. That just doesn't work out for us either. So I think that to Stacey's point, which I think is spot on, is that is the best possible team you can put out without Forrest being available. And I'm really happy personally to see Laxalt draw back in front of Taylor. I know that you made the call on the pre-team selection that you thought Taylor would hold his place, but you also mentioned that you wouldn't be surprised if Laxalt drew back in, because I think he's been playing well of late. And I think him and El Yunusi, their job will be to try and terrorise young Nathan Patterson down that right-hand side. Callum said it the last time we played them. That's the way to get at Rangers without Tavernier in the lineup. You can really limit them down that side of the park, and I think that's where we've got to get after them and try and get in behind.
I think that was a big area of strength for us in the last game. Be interesting to see if we do target that area again. Obviously, I know Balogun started there in the last game. It'll be Patterson today. It is actually the same starting 11 for us from that 1-1 game at Celtic Park a few weeks ago. On the bench today for Celtic, it's Barkas, Taylor, Beaton, Griffiths, Ayeti, Soro, Vogic, Montgomery and Ralston. Stacey, are the names on the bench there? Who jumps out at you that can maybe come into this game and make an impact if we need them?
Well, to me, Griffiths sticks out. I know he's obviously had these troubles, but you've seen many a times he's a totally brilliant playmaker when he comes back on. He makes an impact. He scores goals. He knows the team very well. He's a big game player on his day when he is on his day, because we can know that he might not turn up or anything, but he'd probably stick out, probably give Ajeti a chance, because Ajeti's not really been given a chance. He's not had the time to gel with the players, really, because who's really gave him a chance under... Lennon never really gave him a chance. For £5 million, that's a lot of money considering the Scottish League. He's not had enough game time, but you can see he's not had a link-up play with, obviously, Edouard or anything like that, but he can score good goals when he's on his day. But I wouldn't say there's anybody that really sticks out to me because the starting 11's so good. There isn't anyone I just go, oh, but Rogic as well. You know, obviously with your Chris was saying about the 3 number 10s, it doesn't work, but you know for a fact that even though you've got Turnbull who's amazing, who would score goals and stuff, whereas Rogic, he's great in his big games. He can score wonder goals. You've seen it before. He's a good on the half turn. He can go from back to front. But I think it's probably strongest team. But out of them, I'd probably say Ajeti, Griffiths, because you could change the formation, go 3-5-2. You really don't know, and mix it up. But it all depends on the scoreline. I always think the first goal is crucial, especially in a Celtic and Rangers game. The first goal is absolutely crucial. So if we go with 1 or 2-0 down, you probably see Kennedy making subs pretty early just to see who can make an impact. And you know for a fact Griffiths relishes in these types of games. So I'd probably say Griffiths, and if it came to it, probably stick up 2 up front if it really gets down to the line. The game.
I think a lot of people, there's a couple of comments coming in saying they would like to see 2 up front. I know a lot of people like that. And we'll see if we might go to the Diamond today and El Yunusi can play off Edouard. We just don't know. Chris, a lot has been made this week about John Kennedy's comments that Honor Day still thinks we are the best team in the country. There's no doubt that Celtic team is capable of going and winning this football match. Absolutely no doubt about that. But they've got to go and perform.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Like, this is the last meaningful game. Let's just hope it isn't the last meaningful game of the season, Paul, because we want to try and get into the next round. We've got a home tie if we do against St Johnstone, so that sets us up nicely. But you shouldn't have any more motivation than today's game, right? You've let the fans down with your performances and your level of consistency over the course of the season. So let's get behind the team today. I know it's behind our screens, but let's just get behind them and let's just hope they can give us a performance to be proud of. I don't fear playing Rangers, which is bizarre, because earlier in the season, I never felt confident that we could give them a game. But the last 2 performances, albeit there was a loss in the game at Ibrox, but we really dominated that for huge spells. We dominated the last game at Celtic Park for huge spells. Our issue was putting the ball in the back of the net. We took care of that last week. So you couldn't be asking for a better platform to go into the game. But let's just make no mistake, Rangers are going to be well up for this game because their cup tie record under Gerrard is his one real blemish, and that's what you hope the Celtic can exploit. I agree with Stacey wholeheartedly. First goal in the game is going to be absolutely crucial. I don't know the stat exactly, but I believe the first team to score has won all but 3 of the last 75, 80 Old Firm games. So it's not very often if you go behind that you can come back to win these games. It's just the psychology of it. I'm really hopeful for today. I'm definitely optimistic. I think we've got a performance in us, and I believe if we play to our best, we have every chance to win. And just quickly on Kennedy's comments, again, totally agree with you, blown out of all proportion. And he actually even said in his press conference on Friday, here's actually what I meant. Right, just so it's not taken out of context a second time, right? But what do you want from your manager? Of course you want them to say that you think they're the best team. Whether that's true or not, that's what the players want to hear as well. So that's just my quick take on that, Paul.
Can I just jump in 2 seconds? To me, in this game, obviously big game players come in to this type of game. But for me, Edouard's just not done enough. I know, obviously, the last couple of seasons have been absolutely terrific, and we know, obviously, with the transfer speculation about him, he obviously had a dip and then he had COVID. But I really do think he might turn up today. He needs to turn up. He needs to show the fans that he's still got it in his locker, because we know on his days he's the best striker in the country. So it all depends on, I think Turnbull's the one that is a playmaker in this team. He can turn things around. He's got a good shot on him. He can strike. But I really do think Edouard needs to show up today because he's due a good. He's not. When is the last time he scored? I can't. Was it the?
Last time he scored against Rangers?
No, just in general, and like this season. When's the last time we scored? I can't actually remember, but
I think it might be against Aberdeen.
Yeah,
might have been one of the games against Aberdeen.
So it's been a few, but you know for a fact against Rangers, he can turn up, but he needs to show the fans that he's still here. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not performed the last few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big for him and Brown. That's, as we talked about in the preview show and in the starting 11 prediction, it's their last really big derby. I know we've got the one coming up on the 2nd of May, and you can talk about how meaningful that is in terms of stopping them going unbeaten and stuff, but this is it. This is do or die today. So the team have got to go and put in a performance, and as you said as well, Chris, they're capable of doing that, and we know that on their day, as John Kennedy says, we're capable of going and winning this match, but we need to get a good start. We need to take control of it like we've done in the past 2 games. The problem has been we've just not took the chances, and there's been those defensive errors that we have to eradicate today if we're going to go and win the game. That's it for the team news reaction. Like the video, comment with your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you straight after full time for the live full time reaction. Cheers.